today I'm going to be introducing you to my Washington, D.C. vlog. I'm going to be walking you through some of the books that I read while I was on my trip. This is a few months ago and I just haven't had the time to really go in between and make sure everything was seamless. So this is my opportunity right now. I went to Washington, D.C. on a work trip and I decided to read some books that I thought would just kind of like get me in the zone, get me in the spirit, or also just were based in Washington, D.C. Now I will say this, I only succeeded with 2 out of the 3 books I read that week, but you know, 2 out of 3, it is bad, but we like to say it is not. Okay, just to make ourselves feel better. First thing I'm going to do is give you a synopsis of the books as I read them in order. So on our way down there, we left at like 11 p.m. that night, and I didn't read anything that, actually I did. I was finishing up a book, but I can't remember what it was right now. What was that book? I don't remember what book I was finishing, but I finished the book, and the next day we woke up still traveling because it's a pretty long drive. And I started the book Sweet Like Sundays. It was a romance about this woman who was a romance writer. She wrote romance novels and she wanted a Christmas themed romance novel. So she went to like Santa Claus Town or Christmas Town up north to get in the Christmas spirit around the holidays. And she met the man who was renting out his house to her. So the guy who was renting out the house that Amelia rents, his name is Ace. He's a fireman, and his dad left him this house. He has already gone through some traumatic events in his life, and he just wanted to, I think it's a duplex, right? Like he lives in one side, she lives in the other, and they were neighbors while she was in town. So with that being said, she is trying to find her way around town and figure out what to do, where the folks at, you know, where our folks at, where our people at. And he is a pretty good tour guide because he was kind of hands-on, but not always hovering. And that allowed him to offer some things to her, or just be like, hey, you know, I know of a good grocery store. I know of a good place for a little barbecue, you know, whatever. She meets a woman at the grocery store who also invites her out to some events, and a romance quickly ensues. This was a very short book. It was only 66 pages, but for some reason, I guess when you're on a work trip, things take longer to read, because it did take me like a whole day to read this book, maybe even into the next day. But super cute, super quick to read, like I said. And it's called Sweet Like Sundays because they have a routine on Sundays. Like she's there for a while, and they have a routine on Sundays to just kind of keep up with each other, cook for each other, and just, you know, spend some time together. And it is very cute, very sweet, a little smoky, you know. And I think my rating for this was, let me look. I'm on Goodreads for the synopsis, but I'm starting to get off of Goodreads and starting to use Storygraph a little more. Let me know what y'all are using to keep track of your books, your ratings, and your reviews, because, you know, the girls are moving away from Goodreads, okay? I finished the book. Can we sit down? Jessica, honey. Thank you, baby. So I finished that book, like I said, like the first day up there. You know, we are sightseeing. I got a little room tour for you guys. Just a quick little room for me and my roommate. It was actually a good setup. And we didn't spend that much time in that room at all. We did a whole lot of sightseeing, okay? I gave Sweet Like Sundays a 4 out of 5. It was very cute, very sweet, and a little spicy. Literally what I told y'all, that's what I wrote on Goodreads. That one is real cool. Solomon. Now, I I chose the first book because it was very, very short and I wanted something to just get me through the bus ride. This, which it did. This next book I chose because of its synopsis. I knew we were going to view the African American Museum while we were in Washington, D.C. and I wanted to like full circle the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, African American Museum. I have a book with African American like roots and great history. And I tried to read the synopsis of this in my 25 for 25. And please feel free to check the video out if you feel so inclined. I tried to read the synopsis, and the way that this book just throws you into the world that is the deep, it's very hard for me to even pronounce the words, one, and then describe what they actually mean. So the deep is about this water-dwelling group of people, descendants of pregnant African slave women thrown overboard by slavers. They live idyllic lives in the sea. Their past is so traumatic, being born of women who were dying, literally, or dead women. That is so traumatic that they have historians who remember for them so they can stay connected. Okay. So they can stay connected to their roots, but also don't have to like live in that trauma. So our main character, Yetu, is in the middle of, okay, the way the book starts, okay, you got to get off my, I'm sorry if it's rocking a little bit. She's on my stands. So Yetu has just gotten into a fight or something when the book starts. So we are thrown into this scene where the people looking for her, they're very worried about her. They're very worried for her and her well-being and her life, right? So we are getting all of that while we are also getting so much vocabulary about who these people are. So all of this is happening, and we find out that Yetu is supposed to be going to a ceremony in which the historians, which is her, we find out that Yetu was supposed to be going to this ceremony in which like the memories are supposed to be downloaded from her to her people, something. Okay, I'm not explaining this well. I'm so very sorry. But the point is, the ceremony is supposed to be like very deep, soulful, all encompassing type of ceremony, right? And it takes days, and they have to travel for a long time to get there. And it is a very cumbersome event for Yetu because, like I said, she is the one holding on to these memories, and she is the one like absorbing so much of this trauma and this pain. So we're finding out that she's supposed to be going to this ceremony, but she doesn't really want to go. So they get there, and we meet some other people in her life and in her family, and then all of a sudden she like bump this. Girl, what I gotta do this again and again and again for the rest of my life? I don't want to. So she runs off, or swims off technically, and she finds herself in an area of the ocean that's like secluded. I forgot what it's like, what they actually call it, but she finds herself in a part of the ocean that is very shallow and kind of like by an island, but it's almost like she ends up in a pool, a very shallow-ish ocean-like pool, and she doesn't know how she got there because in order to get there, she had a very trying journey, and she's injured, and she had to like go over a wall, and she doesn't know how it happened, whatever. So she's frightened. And she doesn't know how she's going to get home. She doesn't even know if she wants to go home. And that is where she befriends another person who is in a phase of life. They're just kind of living, you know. But yeah, so this was a very, very soul-searching, soul-wrenching story. It was beautiful. And the language was so heavy-handed that sometimes it was kind of hard for me to understand. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted so badly for this to be a 5 stars, but the only reason it was not 5 stars was because of my, like the understanding just kept slipping from me. You know, there were some things that were just so deep and so sorrowful, like so filled with sorrow that I'm just like, what is going on, you know? So it was very, it was kind of sad to read and whatever. So that's what I read the majority of my time in Washington, D.C. So every time we would like get back on the bus from sightseeing or from one of the museums or go from the hotel to the bowling alley or go from the hotel to the Capitol, I was immersed in this novel about these beautiful people with their traumatic backgrounds. And they do describe the magic of how they are able to live even though they were born out of death. So I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and that carried me, like I said, through the majority of the trip. To leave, or the day before, one of them. It was either the day before the last day or the last day. I started another one of my 25 for 25 books, which is Monday's Not Coming, by Tiffany Jackson. Now, I didn't realize that this book was set in Washington, D.C. until I was like a couple pages in, because I think it said it, and then I went back and read the synopsis, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I probably should have read this first, but whatever, we're here. So Monday's Not Coming is an absolutely heart-wrenching story about this young woman, this young girl who's in middle school named Claudia. So Claudia and her best friend Monday have been friends for a couple of years or some time, whatever. And Claudia, at the beginning of the book, is returning from her summer vacation at her grandmama's house down in the South. So her mom is picking her up. They're going back home. And Claudia is like, Mama, have you seen Monday? I've been trying to send letters like we usually do. I've been trying to talk to her, but Monday's not getting back to me. I think something's wrong. And her mom's like, girl, I'm sure everything's fine. You know, like, school is about to start. I'm pretty sure you'll see her at school. So her best friend Monday loves school and she loves Mondays. So she's like, okay, cool. I'm just going. It's hard for her to wait. She's asking her mom, like, can we go by her house? And her mom was like, no, girl, her mama crazy. I don't feel like dealing with Monday folks right now. Not happening. Just wait till you go to school. Okay. So Claudia's like, all right, fine, whatever. I'll wait till we go to school. She goes to school. Monday's not there. She's freaking out. She asks one of the teachers in the building, like, hey, you see you Monday? And the teacher's like, no, I haven't seen her, but it's the first day of school. You know, maybe she'll be here tomorrow. And Claudia's like, nah, she loves Mondays. She loves school. Something is wrong. So she goes home and she tells her mom and her dad, like, hey, Monday is missing. And everybody is kind of downplaying it because in their minds, it's like, okay, it's the first day of school. Maybe she's sick or something. You know, it's a lot of kids in her house. There's a lot of siblings. Maybe they got sick again. Or maybe she's still out of town. Like, girl, calm down, Claudia. It ain't that big of a deal. Claudia is tripping. You understand me? Claudia is freaking out. She ain't tripping. I'm sorry. Misuse of words. She freaking out. She like, this my only friend. This is my best friend in the whole wide world. This is my 8th grade year of middle school. This is my last year of middle school. And y'all want me to do this without my best friend? Absolutely not. We need to find my best friend, okay? So that's what's happening in the backdrop of Washington, D.C. And this story was so sad. It was so sad when you find out the true story behind Monday and her family, Claudia and her family, the trauma of having your best friend that's missing, your only friend that's missing, like trying to make new friends as an 8th grader in middle school, trying to, handle this incoming transition because she has to go to high school, but she has to apply to the high school she wants to go to. But Monday was helping her with certain things, and now Claudia is feeling very self-conscious about her self and just in so many areas of life because her identity was wrapped up somewhat in her best friend. And she is able to blossom in certain things that she did without Monday. She has hobbies and things that she loved to do outside of Monday. So we're able to see her bloom and blossom in those things and grow stronger in those things. And we also see her as she goes to church with her mom, and people are asking her about Monday and she doesn't have answers. You see her trying to find answers by herself. She's trying to find answers with her mom. When her mom gets tired, she has her dad help. When her dad gets tired, she asks somebody at church to help. When they get tired, she is just running through all of her options to find her best friend throughout this entire book. And you're able to see their friendship, how they started, where they were going, some of the things that they knew about each other, some of the things they didn't know about each other. I would say it's a dual timeline, but not really. It's just some flashbacks here and there of times when Monday was not missing. And I saw somebody put a review, and it was basically like, so this book is basically asking the question, like, who is the burden on when a child goes missing? You know, is it the school? Is it the community? Is it the family? Who has the biggest burden? And who let these girls down the most? So absolutely amazing read. It was very, very sad, but I did give it 5 stars just because I couldn't put it down. And I did truly want to know what happened to both of them. And at the end, I was just so heartbroken. So like I said, I was reading this on the last day of the trip. So everything else in this vlog is just like sightseeing. We went to the Capitol. We went to all of the museums that I wanted to go to the African American Museum, and we did that like the first day we were there. So everything after that, I was just like, whatever. We had some decent food. I got some food from a food truck in front of the Capitol or the Washington Monument, something like that whole little area. I had some pho at a mall, probably not my best decision ever. But yeah, it was super, super fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed me talking through some of the books with you, because like I said, it was a work trip and I couldn't really do that while I was on the work trip.
I felt so suffocated with the pop.
There's some right there.
Don't want them to test you, I promise. This is what I do. Nobody. Oh, that's a little bitty bird right there. That's crazy. Oh, they have. Oh my God. They got them in the lobby. I did not thought that though.
Okay, so I was so excited to be in the bookstore that I didn't really look up the book. And I had just told myself, like, I'm just going to go in there and buy books and I'm not going to look them up. Stop looking them up because I would spoil them for myself, or I would see other people's ratings and I was like, I'm going to stop doing that. So I picked up this book. Isn't it beautiful? Look at that cover. Moonwitch Spider King by Marlon James. And I read the back of it. It sounds so interesting. And I looked it up and it's book 2 of a series. So I can't read it right now. But yeah, that's the one thing I bought in DC that I can show y'all. Everything else was just like food. I didn't buy anything else except this one book that I can't read. So now I have to figure out, like, do I want to just give it away or do I want to buy the first book of this series to read it so that I can read this? I don't know, but the series doesn't have great reviews. Like this book, book 2 has maybe a 3.5. And usually the second book does pretty well because the only people that read the second book are the people that enjoyed the first book. So usually second books in series, or maybe I'm thinking about third and fourth books. Third and fourth books usually do pretty good. But yeah, so, and it's a pretty thick book. And I'm like, this is the second in a series? Ooh. So yeah. Just wanted to pop in and give y'all that little tidbit right there about the bookstore. And those were the 3 books I read. That was at the end of beginning of April. Those were the books I read in April. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this vlog. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.